What is going on YouTube? Slushy Games playing the Stanley Parable. This is episode 11. I haven't played this in about a week. My son has finally talked me into playing it again. I have a massive headache, but let's see how much I can get into it. And he's dancing in the background because of how excited he is. The scene you see in the background, I uploaded it 2 different times because I was testing out something. And you change the time when you start the game. First time I did the actual time, this time I skipped for it. And it got mad at me being like, what the hell, I told you not to just put a random time. Or this happens. Just left 12 o'clock? Because if you do, well, let's just say I've spent a lot of time being mad at the people who set up the time at 11 o'clock, vilifying them for their love of 12 o'clock. With the slider. How unfair is it to dislike people whose favorite time is 12? Is it fair to dislike them or unfair? You know, I can just say, regardless of whether it's actually midnight right now, I'm having a great time adjusting these settings. No. It's good to collect data. I wish we had more sliders. What, Mama? Should we be ready for the next? There, see, I skipped through the intro, so it's not scary anymore.
This is the story.
I'm not doing that intro again this time. Okay, so remember last time we edited the balloons and whatnot and that weird ass thingy? Oh god.
All of his co-workers were gone.
See?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Because I set it up last time, remember? Oh, it's the bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Huh, it's the bucket from the last time. Alright, so that room's gone now with the updates, you guys.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Should I go right again? Continue going right still?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
I forget what I was
Stanley
supposed to
had
do
felt
now.
the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
We did, remember I jumped off the elevator in that one?
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and
Yeah,
walked
that was
straight
from
ahead
last
to the opposite door.
Let's try the boss's office again with the bucket this time.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons.
Really?
Even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point.
Well,
Share
we
your
fought in
journal
Vietnam in
entries detailing the rich
1968 during
emotional
the
landscape
Mekong
of your
event.
feelings for the bucket, as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
What?
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There.
Property of Stanley.
Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see,
Bucket.
I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker. You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
I think I pissed off the narrator. I think he left us in here alone. Should I leave?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
To be rich is a crime. Is it a crime? No crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. I want to go that way this time. I'm gonna go this way. Yeah, it wasn't locked last time. Hmm.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
What?
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs.
Just waiting to see if
Trying to
anything
input
happens.
anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, There really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Yay. More useless junk.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
There's no alligator, Mama.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Because it's an office.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's
Wait,
control.
it went down last time.
Never! He squeezed the bucket
Did it
tighter.
go up this time?
His
Last
one
time.
friend in the entire world.
Oh.
At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Yeah.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
I want to get to that damn button.
How do we do it?
I don't know, buds.
They're not playing fair.
They're not playing fair.
How to tell bucket? Huh? But if you ever reach those buttons, imagine it does nothing.
Probably does nothing, yeah. Who knows? Oh, I pressed yes that last time. Should I press no this time?
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
You pressed off. So press on.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Silly birds or what? Flamingos!
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Well, that was the end of that episode.